Sup nerds, here in RSS, I'm going to show you how to do the fatty Gerplin. This guy right here. He drops the 20 AC Augs for head, arms, hands, feet. It's not lore. So you can put 4 of these on your character, totaling 80 AC. Now I can go over the other ones later as the fireside ones, same situation. Not lore, you can have 4 of these for 100 extra AC. 2 in the wrists, chest, legs. Now, both of those in total is 180 AC. That is definitely worth camping on just about every character you can imagine. Have some aggro here. One moment, please. So the key to this camp, generally speaking, is invis and snare and slow. If you do not have any one of those, you are going to have a bad time. All of these mobs run. They swing pretty fast. In general, and oftentimes, they are also hasted, which they will mow you down real fast. A regular tank has no chance if these aren't slowed. So, here's the room. Here's the location on the map. It is the Gerplan Shard Tender. He's pretty close to the stairway. There can be C-invis along the way. Just clear those. Re-invis. Come over here. Now, this room looks pretty nasty, right? And it can be. If you do everything right, it's easy. If you make one mistake, you wipe. So, I've done a lot of trial and error down here of where to go, how to do it. So right over here, this little fatty, this is the named placeholder. See that on the map? Gerplin Shard Tender. There's a hallway here, and a hallway over here. Random pathers like to go from each path one way or the other. Sometimes they're C-invis, sometimes they're not. Most of the time, that's not a big deal. You come over here, into this little cubby section here, onto this ramp. You can see there's a little section here. This ramp, this is your border. You want to get all your characters up on this ramp, but not against the wall, just a little bit off of it. If you go against the wall, and you pull these named, they run in the opposite direction because reasons. So you want to pull them, be off the wall just a little bit, and you never want to be off this platform, and that goes for the mob as well. So here's where snare comes into play. To camp this named, there's one mob in the way, and then you get the placeholder, aside from the pathers that sometimes randomly go by. Don't pull when there's a pather. Other than that, pull this guy. I like to pull him with snare. Make sure you are on the platform completely. And then make sure the mob gets on the platform completely. Do the murdering. Ideally as fast as possible. The faster the mob dies, the less damage you take, the less danger another ad can come through, etc., etc. We don't worry about efficiency at this camp. it's 2 mobs, and then you wait. If you get bold, you can go to the next room and camp a second named at the same time. With that 1 mob out of the way, we are clear to pull the next guy. When pulling, stay a little ways away from the wall. Make sure you have the right mob targeted. I like to pull with snare, just because there's no pather. Bring him in. Make sure you're on the platform and it gets on the platform. Sometimes you gotta wiggle around a little bit, but it's very important. If the mob is off of the platform, it is in range for this middle guy to social aggro. And this middle guy is in range for the rest of the room to social aggro. So if that happens, you're pulling the entire room on yourself. Bad news bears. And that's this camp. 1 mob here, 1 mob there. Wait for repops. Or, if you want the advanced tutorial, keep watching. I will go to the next camp and show you that one. It's very similar to this one. So the next guy is just straight through this tunnel. Frost Keeper, we'll call him Reba. Why not? So this is likely a named pather as well, named placeholder for a pather. So just be wary at all times wherever you go, watching the mobs to see if they see invis, because they are random. When you kill a mob and it repops, there's a chance for that mob to then see invis. They have different names, I don't remember them all, but always be watching. So the next camp is a very similar situation. So we've got this guy right here is the named placeholder, and this is a similar camp. There's really only 2 mobs in your way. You've got this 1 Farron right here, and then you got the placeholder. Now the named Farron, or these Farrons ignore your first aggro, so I don't hit them with my high aggro because it gets ignored. So I'll hit them with, a snare or a nuke to get aggro, and then I'll hit them with a big aggro. That matters more if you're doing it with a group. To Murder Town. Again, spare no resource unless you absolutely have to, because there's good downtime in between. You will be full health mana between every repop, doesn't matter. Keep your eye out for pathers. Here comes one. Not a big deal if you just are always aware. It's not a good AFK camp. This guy's hasted. Very important to get slowed. Bard. As you can see, I barely took any damage from the dog. This one hasted now comes in and just wrecks me. And you don't have to worry about dispelling it, because any slow will override the haste effect. Just if you didn't know. And then that's it. I mean, there's usually only 1. If you get a pather, then there's 2. But then it's just the placeholder for the named. Same strategy applies. Don't be against the wall. Be on the platform. This one you have a little more leeway because the mobs aren't on top of each other. They're plenty spaced out in here. Just always be aware, just in case you get a pather coming through. To the murdering. And then we play the waiting game. Now if you got good DPS, you can usually kill all these mobs and then you'll have to wait a little bit. But sometimes, like if you're doing a whole group or you're a little slower, that's fine. The mobs will be up by the time you move to the next room. But at this point, it's very important to invis back up and get into the into the last room before the named repops, because the named will then see invis, and he's right in the way. You can get past him if you are sneaky, and you can kind of go around the corner real quick, but it's dangerous. So what you can do is just go back to the one little cubby. This is the only cubby I've found that works. Any other cubby in here, you will get mushed. So this little 10-foot by 5-foot area is home. So what you do is just come over here, get on the platform, and wait for repops. And I will show you the repops. Hopefully there's a named when they pop. Alright, we got ourselves a Frostkeeper Reba repop. No fatty, unfortunately, so we'll have to wait on him again. But this guy is basically for runes, greater or glowing. I like to pull him off with a snare, get him positioned, try and slowed. Everything in here likes to resist snare at least once. Just keep getting him snared, everything runs. But once this guy dies, you'll see what he drops. Hopefully a double glowing. Fingers crossed. But this is just a easy guy to add to your rotation if you're camping the AC Augs, because you can also get a lot of rune drops. Or no rune drops. That's also a thing. It's decent alt loot. Or box loot. Sup nerds, so I'm at the camp with the 25 AC AUG. This is generally called the Riftseeker camp. It's the most northern fireside camp. It's not a great way to see the path, but all the way through to the top. Here it is. It's basically a big old circle with a bunch of jerks in it. Sometimes they see invis, sometimes they don't. But this room can be very dangerous. It also has pathers. And through testing and whatnot, figuring out where to set up, there's one little section in here, much like the ice camp, where you see there's a little separation between mobs here. Each mob in this, like between the pillar has a mob in it. There's one over there, and there's one over here. Personally, I like the one over here. You can set your group up, generally speaking, right about here. You got 5 to 10 feet to play with. If you get too close over here, you'll pull them. If you get too close over there, you'll pull them, plus any pathers. But generally speaking, you can just sit here, not be invis, and be fine. Then what you want to do is, if you are after the AC Augs, you just want to keep this room clear. Most of these pull single target. The only ones that don't is the one I have targeted right now. That one will also aggro the mob right there, which is also a signet mob at the moment. But other than that, they are generally single pulls. This right here also happens to be another named Balancer Relic. It's lower level named. Still can drop good runes, and I think he drops a bow or something. It's okay. But what you want to do is, similar to the ice, just get a little cubby and pull him over and kill him. This one you don't have to mess with the balcony, the ledge, whatever. You got a little bit more space. And once you kill this guy, you get a lot more space opening up. As long as you stay away from that doorway where the pathers are. You're fine until repop, which is, I think, about 13 minutes. Could be off a couple minutes, but it's definitely no more than 15. That's basically it. So that spot will spawn the balancer, and then every other spot in here has a chance. Every other, I think it can spawn there too, but generally speaking, every other spot in here has a chance to spawn the Pyrillan Riftseeker, which drops the 25 AC Aug, which you can get 4 of them, which turns into 100 AC. And combined with the Ice Side's 80, 180 AC is amazing no matter what class you put them on. That's it. Pull everything to here, watch out for pathers, and beware of the repops. But again, if you're over here, even repops won't add, as long as you got that distance. Happy hunting. Hey, we got a named repop. Here we go. Pulling him to the safe spot. Murdering his face off. Fun. For this camp is a waiting game. Hey! Big ol' Aug. That's how you do it. Bye!